Hello, it's GameSpec CSGO, and today I'm going to talk about basically rank the 10 newest rosters to see where I think they'll go. So at number 10, I'm going to have to put Denial. Basically, Denial is made of the three members of the ex-Winterfox roster, XP3, Anger, and Flowsick, as well as two Swedish players, Quitten and Spitfire. Um, I sort of can understand why Winterfox actually kicked their roster. This New Zealand roster that they created, I think. Yeah, that's a lot stronger. And Denial was never really the strongest team in Egypt. Basically, with this roster, I'm even less excited because it's taking three pretty random EU pros and putting them with three pretty random NA pros. Sorry, with two EU pros. So I don't see this team going really far. I think they can dominate the lower leagues, and maybe they can qualify for ESL, and maybe this team keep their spot. Number 9 goes to CLG. The squad is Hazed, Cutler, Kusta, Nati, and Sabrosa. They've made the most changes, but they are the least exciting because these talents have not really been seen. And although you might be saying, well, that makes it more exciting because you want to see where they go in the future, well, to be honest, I'm not super excited to see where these guys go, especially since the players that they joined weren't that great anyways. However, I still think they can perform. It's good. They're gonna need an AWPer. Akusta needs to go back to the AWP. Maybe Cutler has to start doing it full time. But yeah, it's a problem when your team doesn't even have a dedicated AWPer. Optic, it's my number 8. It's Daps Rush, Tarek, Naf, Mixwell. It's an interesting move because at the time they were doing all right. They're doing exactly what I thought they should be doing. One-man pub sets, blah blah blah. It's an interesting decision, and apparently there was a lot of controversy because basically Stanislaw was he can't get a team anymore since everyone's in the ESL season, so why would they pick up someone else? The ESEA season. However, I think right now it's a good upgrade in terms of firepower, but it makes them a hit and miss team because now everybody is inconsistent. And even like Tarek is the most inconsistent player you will ever see. But if they all perform at the level that they can, this can easily be one of the strongest teams in North America. In number 7, I'm going to have to put Cloud9. It's the team with Skidoodle, Nothing, Stewie, Shroud, and Automatic. We have already seen a lot of this team, which is why it's so low down. But I'm gonna have to be honest. I am very, very pleased with the results so far, and I think that Automatic as a support player has solved so many problems. Maybe even an in-game leader could never have fixed. Um, I think that they have to basically get like a good system going, which they already have. So really now it's time to see how far this honeymoon period can go, or if this is actually just Cloud9's new form. Number 6, it's Liquid, it's Pimp, JDM, Hiko, Elite, Nitro. These guys, Liquid is always the king of paper, because their lineups on paper are always the strongest. They have a huge upgrade, JDM, and they also have Pimp, which is kind of an upgrade from a Dren, but a downgrade from their substitute player of Simple. It's still the most exciting squad. We know what Liquid can do. We know what JDM can do when he has some decent players around him. Their recent performances, just like that Simple roster, are not too impressive, but I do expect them to just take off after a while. Number 5, Fanatic. The new Fanatic has Electro, Twist, Wenton, Olofmeister, and Dennis. And, well, it's a huge downgrade from their old roster in terms of experience, in terms of a bit of firepower. But it brings in the young talent, so this team can basically be together for a long time. The last few games have been kind of promising, though. It's a 2-0 against Mouse. It's a 1-1 against G2. To be fair, G2 is in a slump, and Fnatic should beat Mousesports 9 times, well, 8 times out of 10. The old Fnatic, at least. But I wouldn't say, panic and buy Fnatic stickers now because you'll never get them again. I can see this roster in a major, in an actual major with stickers. Number 4, FaZe. The FaZe squad is Rain, JKM, Keo, Alu, and AZ. It solves FaZe's one problem. They did not have that star offer. They had Fox, but Fox was never performing to the level that you need to make a team tier 1. This team is super flexible. Alu is pretty much like a hybrid player, and it has tons of firepower. It has very little leadership. I'm not sure who's going to take it, but what I do know is that for a while, in ENCE, Alu actually was the in-game leader as well. So maybe, but I would rather Alu focus on being a star opera, which he's been doing pretty well in the last few games. But I can definitely see them becoming a top 5 team very soon. In number 3, I'll put the real Splice, not the Splice which has Red as a substitute. Not Red's fault, not Machine Gun's fault, it's just papers. But yeah, I mean, what we've seen from Splice is they're just lacking a little bit of firepower. And I don't want to repeat myself too much on Splice, but basically, Machine Gun is going to be that firepower. I think Splice have thought of this properly from the last few games that they have had. They just need that little bit of firepower. And unfortunately, sorry, Red, but it's going to have to be up to Machine Gun to provide that. And in number 2, Na'Vi. And how can you not get excited with some simple hype? It's Guardian, Simple, Flamey, Edward Seized. Super hype team, tons of firepower. Not much in the in-game leading point of view, but firepower. The first few matches have been pretty dominating. To be fair, they've had some struggles against SK, but everyone has struggles against SK. And to be honest, though, I mean, the way they just run around the map, Simple, Guardian, Flamey, these guys just love their day, love their lives right now. And this is pretty much looking like a top 3 major winning team. This might be the first major that they win. Navi. And number 1, you cannot ignore the Swedish boys of Godsent. They kind of surprised us, didn't they? They just decided to make one of the biggest roster changes. JW, Flusher, Crims, Pronax, Schneider, 3 of those players, 3 players coming from another squad. So it's kind of a hark back to the old Fnatic days, except it was Devil Walk instead of Crims. But that's a good change, honestly, especially with Devil Walk's form right now. But it looks like Fnatic's trio, the JW, Flushers, and Crims, they were looking for some leadership. They actually left that team, which was doing pretty okay, to come to this team. So they wanted some leadership. Maybe there's some internal struggles. That's what they were hinting at. And from a Drop the Bomb interview, by the way, you should watch Drop the Bomb. But yeah, from a Drop the Bomb interview, podcast, that was, I think it was Sadukist who said that it was going to be JW out and Rain in for Fnatic. This is a huge difference to that, by the way. But, or was it? Yeah, it was that. So I think that this team is basically going to rely on Pronax's strategies, and it's going to bring up the question: how far can you go with strategy? And my opinion, quite far. Their last few games have been pretty promising. Although, yeah, 0-2 versus VP, then they dominated Team Heroic, which is also another new team that you should be looking out for, by the way. But yeah, in the end of the day, this is definitely my top 10 list. I cannot wait to see who disproves me. Maybe Liquid are going to become tier 6 and CLG will win the next major. I never know. Maybe it's going to be Denial. I highly doubt it. Alright, any teams that I missed? I know I mentioned Team Heroic, but they didn't really make a roster change as much as a whole new roster. And yeah, that's pretty much it. My next video, I'm basically going to be talking about EchoFox. And basically what they're doing right. Alright, goodbye.